Today we're over here talking to retired Brigadier George Mansford about the importance of the Cairns Shipping Development Project. And George, just like you to give us your take on the situation.
Well, you know, my views are limited, I guess, to the approaches of Cairns. The reality is that, as wonderful as Cairns is, it's very vulnerable because we only have limited lines of communication to the south. The main communications land is the rail and the road, which are parallel, and as we know from cyclones and wet seasons, that more often than not they're cut. And even there is the first hint of danger, in that all our stores start running out of essential foods. Now, if you expanded that into a catastrophe where we simply can't get those supplies, and if you've got an airfield, the airport, which is, you know, both terminals co-located, and the airport is out of operation, that leaves only the port. And on top of that, you've got the vulnerability, of course, of two hospitals co-located together, which means if one goes, the other one will probably go too. And so, you know, they're the factors in regards to lines of communication and the need for why we need the port expanded. And the port needs to be expanded because if that scenario ever occurred, be it man-made or by nature, then, and if it's the only approach and exit, the boats are going to play a very important role in providing supplies, resources, reinforcements, as well as water, and obviously the essentials of life. And even at times, if the ships that will, you know, if it was a catastrophe, you'd have to have them here, the odd ship that's capable of being a hospital ship, and the evacuation of people. Now, why do I say that? Because if you look at Tracy and Darwin, the airport was only out for a short while and there was a need to evacuate, and they used that very successfully over a period of time. But in those days the population wasn't that great, and the damage was not that great, and the airport was virtually running next day. But even at that time, there was a major ship, a warship. I was up there. There was a major ship that was providing water and providing treatment for casualties and so forth for a short period of time, while General Stretton got everything out of the way, kicked everybody out, so to speak. So, in summary, what we're saying is, with those lines of communication as vulnerable as they are, and they're not going to improve, we're stuck with that because you've got mountains and sea on either side. We rely on the air and the port, and if the airfield goes, then it could suffer sufficient damage to keep out of action for a number of days, if not more. You go back to the port, and some of the ships are getting bigger all the time, and particularly our warships. Now, in fact, there's another classic example. If they're listening in Canberra, our two major warships that could provide this are out of action. So that doesn't, you know, I mean, all of these things add up. And the point is that it's like most things, that nobody thinks about doing anything until it's too late.